Welcome to the episode of Locked In, and yes, you did read that title right. Can you get a set of bikepacking bags, all included, for $120? Let's find out in this review. In this review, I'm going to be basically covering all of the Roswheel bikepacking or attack series bags. That means that for $120, I was able to get a handlebar bag, a frame bag, a seat bag, and a top tube bag. I'm going to let you know, is it worth it? Is it any good? What are my initial thoughts on it? And should you buy a set? And I wanted to show off these bags that were provided by gearbest.com. Links in the description to get all these bags. Now, the Roswheel bags, you guys, if you're watching this video, have probably seen or currently own. They are definitely a very affordable product that is sourced directly from China, typically on eBay, Amazon, and so you can find these bags, but there's not anyone who's done a real review of them, at least that I've seen, for the full set. So, now, for that $120, I will put a caveat on that. That does depend greatly on which buyer and place you buy these bags from, because I've seen a big fluctuation, mainly in the seat bag area. So keep that in mind if you do go over the $120. But currently, when I found these, that was what the going price was. Again, they fluctuate depending on where you get it. So if you hunt around, you should be able to get it close to that price point. And that is a killer price point, I have to say, because typically even just like a front bag from a high-end company is about 120 bucks. Now, there are things that you definitely lose getting the Roswheel bags. I'm going to break into that in this review, going over each bag individually, my initial impressions, thoughts. Some of these bags I've used more than others, so we'll get into each one. So let's start very simply with the handlebar bag. Now, this is the handlebar bag. This is a dry bag setup where basically you have the bag here that does have some Velcro on it, and this is what's going to live on your bike, basically as your carrier cradle. So there are some pros and cons to this setup. Big pro is you can get different dry bags. So if this is too big or too small for you, you can basically just go get another dry bag. Now, it won't have the Velcro attached. That would help it from sliding side to side, but if you run a drop bar bike, you're going to hit something. So I don't think that's a big deal. If you snug it down enough, I don't think that's a big issue. So that is a nice convenient thing if you want a different size or variety of bags. Now onto the cradle. This is where I'm not really happy with the system. One big one is when you have it all set up, basically you have one place to put a light, and that's about it. All this webbing that you think you can go underneath and hook stuff to, it's all sewed down, so you're not going to be able to have any real multifunction out of this. They do give you one spot for a light, which is nice, but again, I wish some of these you could loop things through and attach something on the front of this or an accessory pouch. Then we get onto the back. You do have two straps here that go around the handlebar. Again, problem with this, there is no way to move these straps outboard, so they have to sit right next to your stem. For me, I don't like that. I like them to sit out a little bit more. One, for better weight distribution. Two, I have my front mount computer and my bell right at my handlebars, so I have to relocate those somewhere else, which is kind of annoying. As well as it does have a standard tie strap for the base to go around the head tube. This should be a bungee style corded system. That is obviously something you could buy on your own, but I think you definitely would need that just for convenience. And this doesn't have enough elasticity to really get around unique carbon shapes or different head tubes that aren't very small or very close. Depending on your cabling, it pushes the bag out a little bit, and this isn't long enough. I mean, look at that. That's not enough. And lastly, this is going to retail on average, again, these prices are going to vary, about 35 bucks for this. Now let's get on the top tube bag. This retails for about $20. So as far as this bag goes, let me break down all the features and pockets and then get into what my final thoughts are on it. So you have your one external mesh pocket on the outside here. You do have a separate accessory pouch on the side here for just quick access things. I would put a couple of dollars in there, something that I would want access to easily on the bike, but not obviously can't be that big. Then you have your main pocket section. I do like that they do provide you with a divider. This is basically a camera style divider, so if you have extras, they probably would work in here if you want to segment it more. And you do get a nice little key hook, so if you want to put your keys in here and always know that they're in one exact spot, that's a pretty cool feature. This, I usually put my power bank in, and other snacks or accessories, things that I want, chapstick, things like that. It's definitely big enough to run the battery bank on its side, which I really like, and still have other storage. But the gripes with it, but again, it's the mounting issues that I found with these bags. Again, this is going to vary on your experience and your frame exactly, but I'm giving you my impressions. So, as far as the bottom mounting to the top tube, you get a very nice wide stable strap, but the problem is, you almost need to have a really fat bike. So if you have, like I have a steel bike or anything with smaller tubing or even aluminum if it's thin, I wasn't able to basically get it taut enough where the bag didn't seem to go side to side, because basically unless the tubing was at least around that size, you can't cinch it down enough because of this break in the Velcro. This should have been continued, I think, all the way here, so you'd have some more adjustability. But these straps do come out, so you could basically make your own, which is what I do when I have to mount it to my steel bike or other bikes. I'll use basically a different Velcro strap that I got from the store. They're not as wide as these. They don't have the great anti-slip material on them, which sucks, but it's what I have to do for some of my bikes. And then again, on the other mount that mounts underneath the stem, this seemed to work okay. Again, I wish this was a bungee-style cord system, mainly for a few reasons. One, if your stem is slammed and it's all the way down, this is very thick and it's kind of hard to get underneath the stem easily. So if this was, again, swapped out with a bungee cord, I think that would be better. Problem is, they don't have a loop on this, so there would be no way for you to do that without trying to modify it yourself. Next, onto the frame bag. The frame bag actually used quite a lot when commuting. This is honestly a great frame bag for commuting. It's almost the perfect size. It does have a drop-down extension, so I was able to carry quite a bit of stuff in here. You have your main cargo compartment here. Obviously, it extends with a zipper on the bottom. You have your accessory pouch on the other side. This is where I'd keep like multi-tools, a gel, things that I wanted quick access to without having to get into basically what I'd mainly carry. Now, the beauty and the downside of this bag is it's small, meaning that if you run it all the way forward in the frame, you can still carry both bottles if this is zipped up. So you can carry a full big size seat tube bottle and another one underneath the down tube. Obviously, depending on the frame, your size of your frame, that might vary a little bit. If you run it all the way to the back and extend the bottom, obviously you get that full storage, and you can just run one big 24-ounce big bottle in the down tube. This bag is designed to basically run front or back, so you do have loops on the back of this, as well as on the front and down here on the down tube, so you can really, really secure this bag. This was probably the best as far as all of them go, as far as security and mounting options along the bags. You do get nice anti-slip straps with a lot of different options, so if you are running a top tube bag and you need to put that front strap back, you do have quite a bit of area and options to strap it onto the frame. And this bag goes, again, roughly around 35 bucks. I definitely would recommend this for any commuter who doesn't want to basically encumber and have a big heavy handlebar bag that could affect the handling, and honestly just needs to carry a few things in the bike. You don't really notice it. The weight's nice and centralized and kind of low. So I definitely recommend that bag for any commuters out there that just need a little bit of storage and don't want to have a huge handlebar bag. Lastly, the big girl. I had to load her up so I could kind of show you all the features on this bag. But this is the Roswheel 10-liter seat bag. Now, I believe they do have a 7 or an 8. I've seen so many different variations that all look very much the same. I was told this is the 10-liter, so I'm hoping that it is. So this is what we're going to be discussing today. Now, I have used this. This is currently loaded up for another video. I'm going to be talking about what I pack in each bag, and I'm kind of experimenting what fits where. But as far as this bag goes, it's going to basically strap around your seat post at the bottom here, and then you have these other loops here that are going to go through your seat rail, clip to here to basically hold the saddlebag up. Now, loaded, it does sway. Pretty much all seat bags do, unless it has a hard mount underneath it. So that's just a caveat of this style of system without a hard bracket. Now, with the 10-liter, the main visual difference that I've seen is you do get the bungee cords on it, which are nice to put your sandals or other things here. You do have a few little loops here, but I really don't know what I'd put in this because they're all pretty small and hard to feed things through. You do get some reflective material on the side, which is great for security and safety. I clipped my little cup on the side here, and it is a roll top section at the top. So when you are packing the bag, you do basically roll this down and compress it to get that nice and tight, and then you use the other straps here to clip it down into place, and you can cinch it easily using this. For the money, I was actually pretty happy with this. It does have a good amount of features. This one is basically water resistant. There are some other ones from other brands that are waterproof. It isn't the biggest option though. There are other brands that make way bigger saddlebags than this, so keep that in mind if you do need to store a lot of stuff. 10 liters, it sounds like a lot, but it is, as you can see, pretty thin, so it doesn't flare out as much as I wish it would to basically carry larger items easier. You really got to think about what goes in here because you don't have a whole lot of width to pack it in. So that's one thing that I definitely did notice. It does have some nice features like some D-loops so you can hang stuff off it. Again, the cargo net is nice for the price point. This is going to really be where the price varied a lot. I've seen this as low as 28 bucks and as much as $55. At $55, it's still not a bad deal. At $28, it's a killer deal compared to any other seat bag pretty much out there, unless it's obviously some other similar brand to this. What are my overall impressions? Would I buy these, and what do I recommend? First off, it really is going to break down to budget. I do have, for reference, a giant or a Revlent Design Sweet Roll handlebar roll. That thing's way nicer. It's got way more features. You can put everything on it, and it's killer. But it's a lot more money. This handlebar bag, I like the idea of the system, but the execution wasn't there. It needs to have the bungee cord. It's, again, easy to do. The main thing was I couldn't space those handlebar straps out. That's really what held me back from wanting to use it more often. And that's something that you'd have to really modify it to work because, again, it's not really sewn that way. Top tube bag, not bad. Again, needs modification. The front bag strap is not a huge deal. I would, again, just swap out the lower straps to just a regular Velcro double-sided strap so that no matter the frame size, it'll work. It is a little bit hard to unzip it while riding. A lot of cool ones like the Revlent Design gas tank has a great magnetic closure, so it's easy to quick access stuff. And there's nothing really practical to put in the mesh pocket at the top besides like a lipstick style battery, external battery. Now onto the frame bag. I definitely would recommend the frame bag. It's cheap, it's a great thing to have if you commute to work and just need to carry a few things and want to keep the weight centralized and just kind of leave it on there. I used it a lot. The great thing with this size that's small is if you do have multiple bikes or if you're sharing it with your significant other or roommates, it basically fits on every frame because it's so tiny. So I definitely would recommend that. The seat bag, if you're looking for a seat bag and you don't need a ton of space, I think it's definitely worth the purchase. This didn't need any major modifications. It does sway, like I said, so you kind of got to get used to that. But I think it's a decent buy, especially if you can get it under the $50. It's definitely, even at $50, like I said, there's nothing else in the market that I'm aware of that's substantially better for not much more money. Everything's a lot more money. Again, I don't say that it's not worth the price of the nicer products because I've definitely seen them, use them, friends have them, whatever. It is definitely worth it if that's something you're going to do regularly and something you're really into because they do think about certain little things, like I've mentioned, more so than these brands have. But for the money, it's not a bad purchase overall. I don't know the longevity of it. I would say that they're probably not going to last as long as some of the higher end, better built stuff. I can pretty much guarantee that. But I will let you guys know how I get on with these bags. If you have any comments or any questions, please put them in the comments below. I will try to answer as best I can. And as well as thank you to gearbest.com. They provided these bags for me to check out. Links for their website is all in the description below. You can find these bags and a lot of other great stuff. So please make sure to subscribe to this channel, click notifications so you can see all my bike reviews, bike unboxings, vlogs, product reviews, product recommendations, DIYs, and so much more on this channel. And thanks for watching another episode of Locked In.
Let's get locked in.